Hey everybody, Economic Ninja. I don't know if I could say this any more clearly. People need to stop using Zillow, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about Zillow. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about the crazy prices that are going on right now in the market. 2 years ago, when I was working as a real estate agent, super pumped, excited about the market. You know, it wasn't the first time that I had been involved with home sales because I had to sell my own homes a long time ago when I was buying and selling homes. But I was reading through news and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in my office and I saw that Zillow had decided to move into the home buying market. And I'm not joking, like this sinking feeling in my stomach hit and I went, oh my gosh, that's horrific. Now, honestly, I couldn't tell you back then. I couldn't have ever imagined what we're seeing now, today. I knew that home prices were going to get inflated because I knew that the Fed was going to be lowering rates to try and stimulate more and more of the economy. But I'm not joking. I couldn't imagine what I'm seeing now. But I had an idea back then. The facts are, whenever large companies or institutions buy up anything, it inflates the price. Why? This is the simplest way to explain it. They've got more money than you and they don't care about every nickel and dime. Sure, they've got a bunch of bean counters in an office making sure that they've got all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. But for the most part, they understand the power of leverage and coming over the top of their competition. Now, I understand that too, because I've used that many times in my life. When I own a business and I want to go get something and I know that I have more money and I'm showing up to the purchase with more money, I understand, and I've done it before. I've paid over asking price for a home, and I've gotten the home when everyone else was like, what the heck, how did he get it? My offer was so solid, it was asking price, and I had more money. That is the fact of the matter, okay? So there's nothing wrong with that, but one thing there is there is one thing, and I'm gonna be getting to it with Zillow, so stick around, because I might ramble a little bit, but trust me, we're gonna get to this point. And I'm gonna explain why you need to stop using Zillow. One thing is that if you think about it, there's nothing wrong with that stuff, but you have to recognize what it is, right? Because that's capitalism. That's why you have the opportunity to become wealthy just like the next person, right? The only difference between you and the next person is, are you trying? That's really all it comes down to. Yeah, sure, people may fail a bunch of times, but eventually you do get it right. So here you go, Zillow. If you've used Zillow, you understand what a Zestimate is. If you don't, if you've never used Zillow, here's the deal. Zillow started this website a long time ago where it had this really neat way of being able to show you all the properties for sale in any given locality or market, anywhere in the country. As a matter of fact, they had an overlay of Google Earth, and it was really neat because for the first time, people could actually go and look at a neighborhood, look at a home, but not only that, not in real time, but like really dig down and say, hey, what kind of trash is in the neighbor's yard? Literally, like how many times have you shown up to a house in the past before there was, you know, satellite systems and GPS, and you'd go, that house looks amazing, and you pull right up and all of a sudden, look at the neighbor's house though. There's like 6 cars on blocks and there's like a guard dog outside and the lawn's dead. Well, Zillow created this atmosphere where people could search and find out all kinds of information. It was really helpful, right? But the problem with, and it is in so many instances, with corporations, they get so big, they dominate their field. Well, they want to keep growing, right? So they get into something else. And in this case, Zillow went from being this search engine to now buying homes. Well, let's go back to that Zestimate now. So the Zestimate was another feature that Zillow provided its customers. And for the first time ever, people could go online, look at a home that's for sale, and then see the surrounding home values in that same neighborhood. And the way that would happen was Zillow would use comps, and they would have this fancy algorithm, mathematical calculations that would be able to figure as time goes on and homes sold in a certain geographical area, they would use very similar tools to how appraisers appraise homes using comps. So people became very familiar with this estimate. They felt comfortable with it. As a matter of fact, after time, I knew personally multiple appraisers that would sit there and go, most of our job's been done for us because Zillow's got this estimate. I mean, they wouldn't, you know, they want to keep their integrity, but they would literally, and trust me, we've seen before where we've seen the entire mortgage industry affect, like pressure, the appraisal industry. Okay, that's a facts. 2005 or 2004 to 2007 was a complete disaster. So much that the appraisers that had the scruples to stand by their ground and say, no, I'm not appraising that house for so much, because during the height of the run up in the early 2000s, you know, they would stand by their decision, say, no, the house is worth this much. Their banks would just go dismiss them, say, you know what, you ain't working for us anymore, because the banks weren't getting the loans because they weren't appraising at the height, because things were smoking up so high. And there were a lot of people, I know someone specifically got kicked to the side because they were like, no, the house isn't worth this much. It hasn't gone up that much in this little amount of time, okay? And they got kicked to the curb. And they had to go find work, still as an appraiser, but in other banks, you know? And so then started seeing banks paying for their own appraisers, you know, actually hiring them in-house. It's completely wrong. It's completely biased. Well, guess what? You know what people say, this ain't like 2008? Well, guess what? It's not only like 2008, it's 10 times worse. Because now, instead of banks owning their own appraisers, Zillow's their own appraiser. Why? Because they have the Zestimate. Over years, people have become so dependent on that darn price that they oh my gosh, this is how much my house is worth. And right now, yes, whatever Zillow is saying, sure it is. You want to know why? Because they're buying a ton of homes. And guess what they're doing? All they got to do is mess with that math algorithm, and that neighborhood starts really, really moving up. And then they're able to flip those homes. You can go online right now and say, what is it like to buy a Zillow-owned home? It's on their website. They explain it all. They're great about it. And I'm telling you right now, they are one of the biggest nails in the coffin of what is happening right now. And if people would wake up to what is going on, that here you have an industry that's not only a company, it's buying its own homes, it's telling you what it's worth, and it's got public sentiment. It is absolutely, you want to talk about market manipulation? That should be pulled into Congress right now. But will anything be done? No. So this is why you're here at the Economic Ninja channel, right? To be able to start looking at things from that 18,000 foot, I don't know why I say 18,000, but for some reason that's the good elevation. 18,000 foot view. You're looking down at things and go, yep, they're screwed up. And I'm gonna have some coffee. For the meantime, they're gonna keep going up until they don't. And can I tell you when that happens? No. Did I nail the lumber time? Yeah, pretty much. The physical lumber price hasn't come down, but back, 3 or 4 months ago when I said mid-July, yeah, we're collapsing in lumber futures prices. Trust me, the physical will follow. But really, when it comes down to it, just like the old saying goes, the market can stay solvent longer than you can stay liquid. That's just true. That's just a fact. Even though you know everything's collapsing around you, everything is not the way it should be, that it's not sustainable, it doesn't mean that it happens in your time frame. So the fact of the matter is, I really think that I don't think Zillow should be allowed. Any company that has the ability to price or give their opinion on price of homes should not be allowed to buy and sell homes. This is just exacerbating the issue. Exacerbating? That's not the way to say it. My wife says, don't say that. It sounds like a bad word. Exacerbating. Man, am I bad at pronouncing words. That's okay. I barely made it through school. Now you're going, why are you listening to the Economic Ninja? I don't know, just to do with a bro hawk and a dream. I think that's it, guys. The Economic Ninja is out. Wait a minute. If you're still here and you haven't left yet, hashtag Zillow in the comments. Hashtag Zillow. I want to see how many people made it to the end.